I think it's probably time. Let's see. It is. It's 10:30. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for putting these questions here. Keep doing that. We can do that a little while longer because first what we have to do is the bonus point survey. So if you've done more than 50% or more of your homework and you're here, then that means you get a little bit of extra points. I like to give you points for things that I think will be helpful to you. It's hard to do something helpful for yourself if you don't get something out of it sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, so hopefully this little reward will encourage you to do this nice thing. Oh, and while we're doing that, I have some quizzes. On my fancy table here. Okay. So as usual, I'm going to put these on my fancy table. This is the door side, the podium side, and the middle. That's where you will find your quiz in one of those places. This is that weird quiz that only did the front, right? So the only possible grades you could have gotten were 0, 10, or 20 points. But I just want to point out, if you got a 10, you only missed 10 points. It's like getting a 40 out of 50 on a quiz in one way, right? Like there's only 20 points on this quiz. So you only missed 10 of them. So don't be like turning it into a letter. If you have a quiz with 2 questions on it, you're not going to get a letter grade on, right? You're just earning some points, okay? So that's what you got, 0, 10, or 20 for today. These are in no particular order. By the door, James Love. In the middle, Nathan. Malia by the podium. Jada Marie, door. Emma, middle. Kaylee, podium. Brevin, middle. I think Jada Marie is not here today. Michaela, door. Nate, podium. Marvin, middle. Monty, door. Jordan Milton, middle. Do we not have Nate yet? It's all right. Sydney, podium. Sadie, door. Jordan's not here at the moment. Corey, middle. Emma, door. Jasmine, middle. Jada, door. Alex, middle. Nana Kofi, door. Maha, middle. Not don't have Sydney at the moment. Eliana, podium. Will, door. Sam, middle. Madison, podium. Aaron, door. No Sam, no Eliana. Okay, so we're going to talk about grades in just a moment, but let me just write the sections on these. Oh, let's see. Sam, maybe? No? Let's try again. Nate? Ah, that's you right there. There we go. Just in time. I'm going to close this a little more, otherwise the hallway gets person whose office is across from this classroom must be losing his mind every day listening to people teach. Okay, I want to talk to you about grades. Because you just got a quiz back, you're probably starting to think about your grades a little more. These are the actual grades of a student in the class. Okay. So this is if you go to Canvas, you know how you put grades and you can see all the stuff about your grades. Wait, hold on. I have a quiz for you, Sam. Is that right? No. What's your name, person that just came in? Look, I don't have a quiz for you. Oh, you must have been asked about that. Okay, that's okay. So these are the actual grades of a person in the class. Notice their name's not here. If you go to Canvas and you click on grades, you'll see a list of all your actual grades, right? What you got on things. And then at the bottom, there's these totals. And I want to make sure that you understand what those mean in my class, because they're different in every class, right? Every single class you have, it varies how much your instructor is savvy with Canvas or uses Canvas. Okay, some instructors have almost nothing on Canvas. Some instructors take a long time to grade things, so it's difficult to see what your grade is. Some instructors have the grades in Canvas, but it's not weighted correctly. So this number is more or less accurate in different classes, right? Some instructors turn that number off because it's inaccurate. This one is not actually accurate, but as the course goes on, it's not actually that inaccurate either. So I think I'm going to leave it on, but I want to tell you how to interpret it so you know what it means. Okay. So the first thing is you should never see anything in imported assignments. That's just an artifact of WebAssign. That's where the assignments come into me when I first assign them. So you won't see anything in there. These next four are all engagement point assignments. So extra ones, mini quizzes, the homework bonus you did today, the reflections you do on Sunday. This person got 100%. All of you should have 100% on all four, because if you ever miss one, I just excuse you. So what's different for you isn't the percent, but how many points. Now, this particular person did a lot of the engagement assignments, but they didn't do all of them. Like, see, they only did one of the reflections. They only have 5 points here. Now, if they did 2 of them, this would say 10 out of 10, 100%. That's worth more, right? That's weighted more. If you ever see these 4 up here and they're not 100%, it's a grading error, and you should just let me know. It just means I didn't excuse you from something yet, or maybe it just hasn't happened yet. But don't get too cocky that these all say 100, because they all say 100 for all of you, right? What you want to look at is these numbers and make sure you've done as many of those as possible, because every one you do adds a little more 100% to your grade, right? Which is good. The business end of it is here. So this goes down for more weeks, but I cut it off for the purposes of the slide. Week 1 is over. So we can look at this week reliably now. You can see it's out of 60 points. Usually our weeks are out of 100 points, 50 points for the quiz, 50 points for the homework. But if you remember, week 1 was like half a week. And so we actually only did a 30-point homework and a 30-point quiz. Okay, so there are only 60 points to earn that week. That week is worth a little bit less than other weeks. This person earned an 85.9 in that week. Now, that's actually their best weekly score so far, but this week counts a little bit less. So, you know, it's good, but also like this is the smaller one. So you have to keep those things in mind. Week 2 is where this person had a problem. We got a 61 out of 100. So this was a normal week with a 50-50 split of the regular grades. And if you look at their grades here, you can actually see week 2 homework, they got a 41. That's pretty good. You missed a little. There'll be an opportunity to make up stuff like that later, I think. Week 2 quiz, though, 20 out of 50. So 30 points got lost on that quiz. Okay. That's still, you know, a fairly passing grade for the week, right? But clearly the problem in this person's grade book is that week 2 quiz. And if I were that person, I'd be thinking, I'm definitely going to choose week 2 for a retake. I have a feeling that that's going to be one of the ones that I need to get shored up on the most. So I might spend a few minutes now and again looking back at week 2, getting ready for that, right? Because in week 9, when the retakes happen, you'll need to retake a bunch of old stuff. If you miss things because you had COVID or were under quarantine, you might have a thing to make up. And also, everyone's going to get to retake. I can't remember how many I decided. I think it might be only 2, but I'm not sure. Previous quizzes, right? this would be one of the ones that person might select. Okay. So this is done, this week is done, but it could go up after a retake week. This week 3, this week is done. That's the quiz you just got back. Notice it's only out of 70 points. It should be 100, but I made the mistake of not photocopying the facts of your quizzes for some reason. And so it's only 70. You can see this person got a 10 on that quiz, but this quiz is not as much of a problem as week 2, right? Because week 2, they missed 30 points, and week 3, they only missed 10. So if they were doing a retake, they can only get 10 more points if they retake week 3, but they could get 30 more points if they retook quiz 2, okay? I want you to just be really open-eyed about what these grades actually mean and don't. For example, in week 4, this person has a 76, but it's out of 50. Why is it out of 50? We didn't take the quiz yet. No. So the grade book doesn't count that as an assignment yet. It hasn't happened yet, okay? So it's only right now counting homework. Why is this homework grade so low? It's not done, which is fine, right? So that homework's not done yet because it's not due till Sunday. So that's totally normal. Some of you may have noticed that you might have like a 4% when you first start your homework, right? It's a little demoralizing because this number is going to go way down, right? Especially at the beginning of the semester when there's very few weeks. That's a huge hit to your grade if you have a 4% on your homework, right? But it gets better over the course of the week. So you should just be really aware that this number, it really doesn't mean that much, right? Because it could be artificially low because you just started your homework. It could be artificially high because you have a 50 out of 50 on your homework, but the quiz hasn't happened yet, right? And then that could bring it down. It could be artificially low because there's something you could retake later. So that is not an actual thing, this number. Like this is not your grade for the class. It's just a number that the Canvas robots computed and wrote here. Okay. It's only somewhat reflective of your grade. The other thing I wanted to say is that this particular person did do quite a few of these assignments up here. And if you add up these grades, you're actually these points like 51 plus 60 plus 58 plus 38, you divide by 60 plus 100 plus 70 plus 50, right? If you actually compute their straight up percentage for these 4 weeks, it's not an 81. It's like a 76. These assignments are pushing their grade up from a C plus to a B minus right now, right? These assignments have impact. Having your homework done 50% on Friday, that's a nice little treat of 5 points. Doesn't matter if you miss it. Sometimes, a bunch of times, but lots of the time, you should get it, right? Because those add up over time. It's really good to have. Same thing for the mini quizzes, getting those right, being in class, doing those little reflections at the end of the week. No reason to skip those. Those are so easy online. Don't ever skip those. And then we had a few extra engagement or point assignments, which actually added quite a bit in this person's case. Okay, anyway, I just want to make sure everybody understands how the grade works because I know it's a source of great panic to see that number at the bottom go up and down. I mean, I'd be panicked about it too. I wouldn't like it. So but I'd rather tell you than then hide this information from you. So I'm letting you see it even though it's not quite accurate. Does anyone have any questions about grades or what's going to happen or how these are computed? Or this is basically how the whole thing's going to work until the final. The final is 500 points. So it's like 5 weeks of points, right? It'll be cumulative. It'll be kind of a lot like the quizzes you're taking. So you'll be used to taking that type of exam when you get to the final. And it will be 5 times as heavy as, say, week 2 here. All right, questions about that? Everyone, are you upset? Or are you just tired? Tired? It's Friday though. You're aware. It is. Did you say no? It is. Oh, I was like, what? It is Friday. You can't take that away from me right now. Yes, it's Friday. And who has this as their last class before the weekend? Okay, great. Congratulations. Who has plenty of other stuff they have to do today? Yeah, me too. but we'll all get there. Okay, let's look back at the problems again. I see number 25 is very popular. Oh, this one. Okay, that's the very last problem on the assignment, so I don't want to start with that one. We're going to get there. I'm just looking through and see what we have here. I think I'm going to do 13 and 9 really fast because I have a feeling that I can do them up here pretty quickly, and then we can do stuff that takes a little more time. So let's just take a peek down there. So much scrolling. Okay, 13. So the third, no, stop. The 13 person says, I'm unsure about the wording and why it's false. Okay, so for all real numbers x, there's some y where x is y to the 8th. Oh, this is one of these game ones. So you get to pick any real number and give it to me. And then after I hear what you said, I can pick a y. And I want it to be true that if I raise my number to the 8th power, I get your number. So who can give me a number where this is actually going to work out well for me? 0, I like that one. You say x equals 0, I'm like, great, y is 0. Where's another one where that's going to work out well for me? 1, you say x equals 1, I say, okay, y equals 1. Okay. You could tell me 2 to the 8th as your x. And I'd say, okay, I'm going to choose y to be 2. But then 2 to the 8th is your number, 2 to the 8th. Give me a number where it's not going to work out well. X. Well, what's that? -1. If you say -1 for x, then there's a -1 here. I can't find any y whose 8th power is negative. I mean, if y was the complex number I minus I, this would be true. Okay, but we're not doing complex numbers right now. So yeah, minus. Maybe just I can't do complex number arithmetic in my head while I'm standing the board. That's what I just found out. Anyway, if you said -1, there's no real number whose 8th power is -1. So this statement is not always true. There are real numbers x, you could say, for which there is no y that makes the last thing true. These are very tricky, these double quantified statements. Does anyone want to ask yet? Go ahead. Right. That's right. But if you say x equals -1, I can't find any y. That's the key. So it's not that some don't work and some do work. In the case of -1, I can't win the game. I can't find one that does that. I can't find any or some that do that. Yeah. Okay, that's 13. And let's look at tricky problem number 9. And the question is, I don't understand how it's true. If I plug in 0, I thought it's false. No, that's it. So glad that the person wrote this, because it is true that 0 makes this, actually 0, let me back up a minute, actually makes this true, because 0 is less than or equal to 2. It's not greater than or equal to 4, but this statement, statement here, that or statement is true because only one or the other or both has to be true. So for 0, this statement is actually true. But like, can I change the question or is question to what if x was 3? If x was 3, this fails, and so does this. So this or statement is false. Does that make this quantified statement false? No. Because the quantified statement says that there's some real number. There exists a real number that makes this true. Now 3 is not that number. Okay, 0 is one of those numbers. 100 is one of those numbers. 4 is one of those numbers. -17 is one of those numbers. 2.5 is not one of those numbers. But if this said for all, then 2.5 would be a counterexample and this statement would be false, but it doesn't say that. It says there exists, and that is true, so the statement is true. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, good. So that takes care of 9. That takes care of 13. This 18, I see it again up there, but I acknowledge that there's 2 more votes for 18 here, but I'm going to cross that off. 25, couldn't figure out how to fill out the table and how to find points. I wish I could move one into the other. Let me look at 18 and 21. This is kind of like, this is kind of like the one that we did in class when we ordered the proof, okay? So the question that the person had was the difference between odd, even, or neither. In this case, this is not the odd, even, neither function. Do you remember that when we had to like plug in minus x and do f of minus x and then see if we get back f of x or minus f of x? That's not what's happening here. These are just straight up odd and even numbers, like 5 or 6, right? And this is saying that the sum of an odd integer like 5 and another odd integer like 7 is going to end up being an even number. And that's that discussion we had on Wednesday with the extra bits adding together, and we wrote that proof. So I think that this person was concerned about the f of minus x thing from a previous section, but this is a different kind of question. We don't have time to do that one again, but I'll refer you back to the notes from Wednesday for that one. So that's 18 and here. These are the two I thought we'd really need to talk about, 21 and 25. I think that what we'll do is we'll do 25 together at the board, because it's kind of hard for you to write all the stuff about 25 on the blackboard, on the whiteboards. You don't want to be copying down the whole table. But then we'll do 21 all at the boards. Okay. So I'm going to blow this up again. It does go till 6, but I'm worried that people can't see it if it's not big enough, if you're in the back. My vision is terrible, so I'm always assuming that people in the back are squeezing at this. So here we've got a table of functions, and we have to make a table for the composition. Now, I just want to be clear about what this table means. This table means, like the F, for example, these are the inputs at the top, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I realize I've already made a tactical error here because there's no negative number input, so I've wasted half of my graph. So, okay, here we go. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what it tells me is that when x is 0, f is 5. When f is 1, when x is 1, f is 2. When f is 4, reading off the top row now, when x is 2, f is 4. This point here is the point 2, comma 4, because f of 2 equals 4. I'm not going to do this for all three. I just wanted to do a couple. It's funny how I'm filling this in slowly on the side here. 4, comma 6, 5, comma 5, and 6, comma 0. So this is a crazy function. I mean, I don't know what it is. Maybe these dots don't even get connected. Maybe this function isn't even defined in between the dots. Maybe it has to do with, the number of cattle on a farm or something. You're not going to have bits of cattle, or whatever, or half a rancher, So the function might not even connect up. It might. There might be some, curvy thing that goes through here. It might be in 3 pieces. Who knows? But it doesn't matter. This is the sum total of information that we know about the function f. We know it goes through these 7 points. Yeah, that is 7. We know it goes through these 7 points. And then for g, we can do the same thing. We don't need that graph, but I just want to point out what we know here. And for h, we also know something. That's the only thing we know. Okay. When you get information like a table like this, it's just like someone gave you a graph or an equation. It's just the information is organized. You just look it up in the table. I know some of you think, well, that's obvious. I knew that. But also sometimes when you do that problem, that key thing is the thing that you're missing. Just that first step of, oh, these are just the function values. So like g of 1 is 5, for example. So fill this in, we don't need to find an equation for F. We don't need to find an equation for G. I mean, if we had them, we could do that, but we don't need to. What we need to do is plug stuff in. So like that first thing, like G circle H of 0, that's short for G of H of 0. So whatever H of 0 is going to get plugged into G. That's how composition works. One function goes inside the other. So this is the X right here. When we plug in X equals 0, what do we get for H? 4 right here. We plug in 0, the H function is 4. So this is G of 4. And now this is the X, the 4, right? But we're going to plug it into G. So when we plug 4 into G, what do we get? What's that number there? What? That's it. That's the number that goes here. In that spot. And you just keep doing this. Okay. So we have very limited information, but it's also only asking us for very limited information. We don't need the formula. We don't need the graph. I only showed you this to be clear that that's the information that we have. It looks like this. You don't need to make this graph or your math file. Okay. Questions about that one? Okay. That's good because we're going to need a bunch of time for the last one. So 21. Oh, is this the one? Wait, oh, no, don't do that. Go back to the thing. There we go. Oh, no, it's not so bad. It's not going to be so bad. Okay. I would like you to do this one at the board. So here's what you have to do. You have to figure out the X values to make this 0, the X values for which it does not exist. The tricky part is going to be the top. A group there, 2 groups in the back, 1 group here. People in the middle, take your pick who you want to be friends with today, and I'll help whatever's written on the board. All right, now you silently solve this problem by everybody wants to happen. It's easy if you know, but it's not easy if you don't know. So y'all ask her what the heck that was just about is what happened. Good job. That's how I thought it. That. Oh, I see. You're the other one. I think you're saying what the double line is. That what you're saying? Yes. And then we'll multiply with the 3. All right, you guys are super far ahead. Is everybody good? All right. You got it. Oh, it's not. Is it hard when I do one that's like that? Is accordion like this? And that's what happens. Oh, you're gonna back it? Oh, it's happening? Yeah, this one is paper back. Are you guys happy with this? Yeah. You said that I think they're supposed to be at the top.
It's very added as well. Actually, added that as well.
No, I mean, were you late? I wasn't ready. I just wanted to find out if I was like, I see you with a few groups. Maybe you were raised or you were not. That's good. So that was makes it popular. Good. That's good. Yeah. All right, I want to take a picture of one of these.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I think so. This is interesting, but I think it's going to make more confusing. Can we erase the last one? Because I think we can just go straight into the foil. So, yeah, 3x. And that. And you can kind of you got to kind of multiply it forward 2 extra bits. Or negative this plus this should be 11. What if you put the -4 in the second one? Then you're going to get -12x. Plus 1 in the other, plus x. Very good. Oh, see, yeah. So actually, a third and a fourth. Those are the things to make the denominator 0 and the function not exist. So you just put a box around that and say function does not exist, like you did there, and I'm going to take a picture of this one. All right, I think everybody got the answer. Does anybody want to ask a question about it? Okay. All right, and I'm going to take a picture of that one. All right, and let's see if there's any other questions that people want to ask. If you're not this sideboard over here, then please erase your board because I'm going to take a picture of this one and all these can be erased. Sometimes if people are absent, it's nice they can't come to Friday, but they can see a little of what we did. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, I don't see any more questions. We've actually done quite a few questions today. I'm pretty happy with it. You gave me a lot of questions. We crossed them out. You know, it's a nice day. Well, it's actually, I heard it wasn't a nice day. But I kind of like not nice days. So for me, that's a nice day. So, you know, if you're done and you're feeling good with your homework, then I'm not going to make a habit of this, but today, feel free to go. If you have other questions, stick around. I'll answer them. You're welcome. Have a good weekend.